Here's just a couple of different ideas. If you're next to a national forest, for example, you never know. You might be able to sell walking sticks. If you're next to an area like Snow Basin or something, if your travel center's there, why not sell sleds? Right? Why not look at different things that, that RV customer may say, oh my Lord, we just had a snow in the mountains. It would be great for the family to go sledding. It's not like they will probably be carrying sleds potentially. And, you might be able to pick up some additional sales by thinking outside the box. Again, if you're next to a famous river that's known for tubing, or a lake, you can really think outside the box as far as products and amenities that may, be welcoming to that type of customer without breaking the bank, right? Without having thousands of tubes or thousands of sleds. You can do something simple.
Okay. What about families? How to attract families from your RV? I know we've talked about having picnic areas outside. Are there any other things that you recommend?
Yeah, so let's say, for example, it's very popular out here in the Southwest. I don't necessarily know if it happens everywhere, but the community of Horizon, for example, during the summer, pre-COVID-19, would have movie night. Right.
Yeah.
And the families would go out there with their chairs and their popcorn, and they'd have hot dogs and grills out there, that stuff you could buy. And they would do movies. So even thinking about your RV customers, your families, your truck drivers, we've got space. We have a lot of space in travel centers, and a lot of the travel centers have really, really beautiful areas, walking paths and things like that. So let's pretend you have a local community. Why couldn't you, in order to attract families, not only the RV families, but attract people to your location by doing something like that? Tuesday night or Wednesday night, or you look at your data and find out what is the busiest day where you have, the most customers, not necessarily the busiest day, but the most customers. And maybe there's an opportunity to do things such as that. Again, if you're close to, I know there's a travel center in California that's close to a lake. They rent out fishing equipment and bait and everything. And speaking to that manager, and the owner, they have a great success with that. They have a lot of RVs that come up during the weekend. They allow them to, if they'll rent equipment, they'll allow them to drop off their trailers at the travel center. They have a designated area, and then as long as they're renting equipment, they can drop their trailers for free, and it allows them to take the pickup truck, go up into the mountains where the lake is, and enjoy a day. So something like that, something small to attract a family, doesn't cost particularly a lot of money, and you can really make some neat opportunities for additional sales.
Yeah. Do worms have a good margin? I feel like we buy worms all summer. Do you know if they have a good margin?
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I would imagine that if you wanted to go fishing, you probably wouldn't care truly what the cost of worms are, right?
That's what happens to us. My husband went to get gas and worms the other day, and I was like, how did you spend that much money on worms? He was like, I don't know. The guy just I think he said they were like sugar or something. Anyways. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and what a great family event. I know you probably get tired of me saying this all the time because we've done so many, blogs and things like that. But we have such an opportunity in travel centers that we just don't fully embrace. And again, we just allow other people to kind of get into, our market. And like we're just talking about worms, seen it many a time where there will be a fishing area or a natural park, and right outside the area of the travel center, right off their parking lot, there'll be a food truck or a worm truck. Or you get my point. Someone will say, hey, this is the perfect place for me to sell worms and fishing equipment, or sell worms and rent fishing equipment. And often we just don't make that connection. We've got, again, these huge properties that allow us to do some different things.
Yeah. It seems like a good time to be having your cashiers just write down what people are asking for, because they're probably asking for things they haven't asked for before. And then you would know to order it, or calling, people call.
Certainly for those of us that have been able to go out a little bit more in certain states than others,
Mhm.
I will tell you that big retail is transitioning incredibly quick.
Yeah.
It is amazing for me to walk into a retailer that used to carry XXXX and no longer carries that and has made room for something else they're selling significantly more.
Yeah.
Or you're probably hearing the stories of grocery stores now selling shoes. Hy-Vee and I think they're based out of Iowa, created a relationship with Zappos, I believe it is. And it's really interesting to see people already readjusting. And we've done some blogs, and I think we talked about it on a video or two. Now is the time for travel centers to do the same,
Yeah.
because once everyone already starts doing that, you're going to be behind the eight ball. And I do think, at least until there's a vaccine or a cure, that people are going to go to the places that they feel really comfortable and they feel safe in. And for those folks that aren't, capturing those types of things or working on those things, I think are gonna suffer in the future.
Yeah.
And we talked about, even though again this is not an amenity, but it's something to attract customers, is cleanliness. We had talked about, again, on a video, I believe, and some other things, how clean the travel centers are. And we recently did a survey of 1,500 drivers, and that was overwhelmingly the biggest comment that those that replied
Yeah.
said was cleanliness, how clean the travel centers had become. I think we'd even had taken some pictures and shared with members like how clean the squeegees were, how clean the trash cans were. So that is, as we talked about, we didn't say that's the new normal. I think we had called that's the new expectation.
Yeah.
And you're hearing people say that cleanliness is going to be critical for someone to stopping. So if you want a family member to show up at your location, if you have an old ratty sign, you better take it down.
Yeah.
If you have an old billboard that's ratty, that hasn't been maintained, you need to get it updated or take your name off of it. Because I think anything out there that implies you're not super clean and not safe, I just don't think people will go inside the stores. I think it's going to be critical. It's going to be critical to have flowers and cleanliness and get rid of the clutter. And when someone walks in, that they can see your food offerings and those types of things. If I was, Bobby Bergstresser and Corey Bergstresser do an amazing job in the Lexington, Virginia area. And their stores not only are clean, but they're incredibly welcoming. Lots of flowers. Even though they don't roll out the red carpet, you could see someone like Bobby doing that, literally rolling out a red carpet and saying, "Welcome, come inside my store." And I do really believe that the retailers that are not taking that serious, that are betting on the come, it's going to go back to normal. It's going to go back to normal. I just think they're just going to get washed to the side, because there isn't a normal anymore. And again, I don't think it's a normal. I call it an expectation.
Yeah.